Time to decide a championship just north of Chicago, Northwestern University. Lakeside Field, one of the most gorgeous settings in all of North America for soccer. 5th-seeded Michigan State Spartans against the number 3 Michigan Wolverines, as the rivalry is going to stay inside the mitten today. And we begin with the green and white of Michigan State.
And the sophomore up top, Adam Montague, has really improved his game over the course of this season. In particular, the dynamic runs he offers his teammates, both on the ball and off the ball. He's a dangerous one for the Spartans.
Stopping danger on the other side, the keeper, Adam Grinwis.
Well, Grinwis has had a terrific tournament and a great season so far. The 6'2" junior is keeping it clean back there. He's got 6 shutouts and has a terrific run going for himself this weekend.
Third member of our broadcast team, delighted to have Dean Linke along. And 8 days ago, it was a similar situation between these two sides, Dean.
Indeed it was, Dan and Chris, and delighted to be with you too, as they met 8 days ago at the Michigan Soccer Complex. 2,500 people, and they were playing for the Big Bear Trophy. Michigan won, preventing Michigan State from winning the regular season title. But I can tell you guys, it doesn't matter about the Big Bear Trophy. A much more coveted prize, a shot in the NCAA tournament, is on the line.
Thanks, Dean. Moving on to bigger and better things, Coach Damon Rensing. First Big Ten tournament finals appearance as the head guy, but this isn't his first stroll in the park. 10 years as assistant. He was part of 2 Big Ten tournament championships as an assistant in 2004 and 2008. He just keeps on surprising. And speaking of surprising, so is the first-year head coach, Shaka Daly, at the helm of Michigan. 100th career win on Friday over Northwestern. It was his 10th victory with the maize and blue. First coach since Bob Warming to make it to the title game during his rookie year of coaching. And there's some history between these two sides. All-time Michigan on top. A lot of one-goal decisions. Maize and blue has come out on the winning end in the last 4 matches 3 times. The weather, it's always a factor. Northwestern University, Lakeside Field. It's going to be about 22 degrees tonight in the Chicagoland area, so embrace the 64-degree temperature, but the winds, Chris, averaging around 30 miles per hour, it's going to factor in.
Absolutely will. As a matter of fact, Michigan will play with the wind in their face and defending into the sun as well. So that's 2 things that'll go against them before this game is even kicked off. Michigan State made the tactical decision to defend, go with the wind to begin, and defend away from the sun as well. So they'll be a little more fresh come the second half.
It's the Wolverines, maize and blue and white shirts. Championship game, here we go. The 2 little engines that just keep on chugging through the tournament. We see our match officials. It's been a well-officiated tournament so far.
On the subject of officials, we're seeing a lot of guys from Major League Soccer who are back on the college level, because that league, of course, has gone to its playoffs. And so they've got a little extra time. Not to say that any of the other referees have done a bad job, but it's nice to see those players up, those referees here.
TJ Van Sluten making a run. Keeper Zach Pennant out there to squash it. We see the path to the championship game for the Spartans. The 2nd time they've taken down Indiana this season. And then Penn State, as you can see by that ranking, no slouches.
Let it go.
No slouch for the big time punt. Zach Bennett going about 80 yards on that punt with the wind-aided kick to the air.
Here's the Maize and Blues path to the championship. Wednesday in the quarterfinals over Wisconsin, and shutting out the host Northwestern University Wildcats. An impressive side all season. Talking to Coach Lenahan minutes before the match, the head man at Northwestern, he said this is one of the windiest days he's seen all season. The only other windier match is his team's upset over Notre Dame, as now it's the Wolverines carrying and attacking Tyler Arnone, who opened up the scoring last match, number 7 there on the outside. Softened down by Alache. Latif, the elder statesman, the senior. His brother Fatai playing for Michigan State. There's Latif, 83rd career start. Just every match of his career. Set a Michigan record moving past Ryan Sturba. He had that signature goal and a signature win over number 4 Akron last year. Now Michigan trying to penetrate on the outside. James Murphy. Down to the feet of Alache. He's got a little room. We'll take a right foot and crack. And a good look there. Michigan trying to get on the end of it is Tyler Arnaud.
Well, Chapman's got to be careful defensively. He's got to keep his feet. He steps a little bit to the left and gets by as Alache locks and loads the right foot and looks far post. He had a run or two, so got to keep your feet defensively, especially against this dangerous Michigan squad.
It's going to be a challenging day for the keepers. Grinwis with a little more experience than the freshman Zach Bennett between the sticks for Michigan State, but Bennett an impressive run. 7-3 over his last 10 starts. Is now it's Michigan State. Jay Chapman. Klemzak steps forward.
Good battle by Alache. First couple minutes of this match, Dan, because of the conditions, the wind in particular, both teams trying to sort out what they can do and what they can't do with and against the wind. Once that gets decided, the team that actually figures it out first is probably going to have the better run of play to begin with.
Michigan State coming off their second 3-goal game this season, their semifinal win. What are their keys to the matches?
Well, they've got to stay connected defensively. That means they've got to make sure that their numbers aren't getting stretched out when they're behind the ball. The second piece for Michigan State, in order to be successful, is they have to set the physical tone that they've set so far in the tournament. They have to do it with their cross-state rivals, the Wolverines.
Alache spins it in. Van Sluten to cross. Easily solved by Bennett. School from Ann Arbor, Michigan. What's their keys to the match?
Well, I think they have to force Michigan State to chase the ball, and so they've got to keep it moving. And in terms of runners, as I mentioned earlier, Montague is doing a nice job off the ball. They've got a lot of activity to monitor, and so the back four have got to keep track of those runners for Michigan State.
Michigan in the midst of a 5-game winning streak. They've shut out 4 of their last 5 opponents. Now striding forward, Ryan Thalen. He was very noticeable in the semifinal victory for the green and white. Thalen just can't hold the near touch line. 7 assists, leading the team. 3rd in the conference for number 5, Ryan Thalen. This is James Murphy. Now out of the back, Nick Lewin. It's a frustrating day to play in these conditions, isn't it, Chris, with the wind averaging around 30 miles per hour?
Yeah, there's just no let up. It's one thing to have gusts every once in a while, but there is no let up in the wind. There's another example of Keener stepping in, getting ahead of the ball, getting ahead of the player. You get to the ball first, you beat that player to the ball. You don't have to worry about holding their back to the ball or to the goal. You don't have to worry about them turning. You don't have to worry about them shooting. Just beat them to the ball first and your job is done.
Keep your eye on these Wolverines in the first half, outscoring their opponents 14-7 in the first 45 minutes, getting outscored 13-10 in the second stanza, so they strike early. Michigan State, they struck early, but it was in the second half. 2 goals in the first 12 minutes of the second half in their win on Friday.
Latif Alache making his physical presence known on Nick Wilson. Wilson able to get a whistle in response.
That's the challenging day today. Who does Latif and Fatai's parents cheer for? Now bounding wide, Michigan State with the good look at goal. Just wide of Grinwis's target. Behind it there, the defender, Kevin Cope.
Connerty does a great job in the restart to get free on the wide side. He gets the ball, he's unchallenged, he puts it right in front of the goal mouth and almost caught Michigan looking.
Dean, goal kick should be interesting this afternoon also as we see one get caught up.
No doubt about it, Dan. You saw one there, and they were practicing earlier, and Coach Dorn will know this as well from his days even in Bloomington where it gets a little bit windy. If that goal kick comes back and Adam Grimlis picks it up, it's a double hand and they actually get a free kick there. If he lets it go in the net, it'll be a corner kick, so that might be the better option. The other thing they talked about doing is maybe having their defenders take that kick. That way the goalkeeper can handle it. You got to be thinking of all kinds of things with the wind at almost now 39 miles per hour, guys.
Dean is now, it's Pereira. Whips it across the goal. Settling it down for a nice touch, TJ Van Sluten. Keener knocking it away. Zeke Harris turns away from trouble. Van Sluten able to get the pass back. Ryan Thalen spins it out of trouble. Michigan State a little sloppy on the clearance, finally settling things down, and the little flick down the near side. Nick Wilson extending, almost had it.
Ball's going to run a little bit with the wind too, and I love the way Dean reached deep into the laws of the game to pull out a rule that we don't see very often. It's the part where the reference to the goal kick coming back into the goal without anyone touching it. That's an amazing piece of information from the laws of the game. It's absolutely true that a corner kick would be awarded. It's not as maybe you see on a Saturday park game with recreational kids. It's not a goal for the opposing team.
Dean was digging deep in the laws. You don't see that happen every match, do you?
No, you just don't. You don't have that quality announcer in every match, and that's what we've got today in Dean Lincoln.
Zalache backpedaling down for Michigan State there, the freshman Jay Chapman.
Well, that's going to make Coach Rensing and the staff with Michigan State just a tad nervous. This kid has been terrific in the second part of the season. Maybe the bigger part of this play is the tone that Latif Alashe is setting in the midfield. He has been physically all over the Spartan ball handlers.
Big Ten soccer fans, make sure to check out the BTN Soccer Report, our weekly web show, hosted by Kevin Egan on BTN.com. Interviews and breakdowns of the conference tournament finals. You can also follow on Twitter at BTN Soccer Report, as we've seen Damon Rensing, Shaka Daly appear on the BTN Soccer Report. One of those victorious coaches will probably make it again for another appearance as they battle on for a Big Ten tournament championship. And speaking of battling on, second coach in Michigan history, Shaka Daly, standing up on the touchline thanks to some crutches.
Had to deal with some in-season knee surgery and hopefully continues with the rehab regimen so that he's back to 100% as soon as possible.
Spoke to his old roommate with the New England Revolution, the original winger Brian Dunseth, saying Shaka would flip out if the boots ever got dirty. Had to have clean boots. That was his big thing. You could see a lot of coaches with those type A personalities. Brought that pro experience to Ann Arbor, Michigan, first year as the head coach. It's taken a while, but the guys in maize and blue have bought in. Adam Montague sprays it out. Ryan Thalen just couldn't hold it.
Thalen pushes up and gives the width to the Michigan State attack from the back. And 2-3 times now he's not been able to catch a running ball. And a reminder with Michigan State going with the wind, some of those services are going to travel a lot faster, a lot longer.
Fatai Alashe, the volley forward, was looking for Nick Wilson.
All those services are going to be tough this afternoon. What you want to look for from the outside, services from the outside, are bending balls that are bending around and behind the defenders, not necessarily balls that are served perpendicular to the goal line. And you got to take a little pace off it, that's for sure.
Busload of about 25 Wolverine fans. The Michigan Ultras have made the trek here, as now it's James Murphy the other way for Michigan. Settling things down out of the back, Kevin Cope. There's James Murphy. native of England, mother of Irish descent. On the other side, Michigan State. Nick Wilson trying to stretch things. Back for the Wolverines was Brian Klemczak. Cautious beginning from both sides to this match. As you can notice, as we mentioned at the top of the show, 30-mile-per-hour winds, and right now it's the University of Michigan playing into the wind in the first half. State won the toss. Kofi Apari had a big goal 8 days ago. The lone strike in that Michigan win did Opari, number 6 in the back line for the Wolverines.
Backside, Zeke!
Backside Zeke is the communication, because Henderson strolling down the near side for Michigan State. Teammates alerting Zeke of that. On the counter, here comes Fabio Pereira. Pereira, 2 assists on Friday in the semifinals, quietly leading his team in assists and points.
Good step by Cope as Michigan's looking to build.
Zeke Harris testing Cope on the outside. Ryan Keener quickly knocks it out. Aerial challenge there, won by Harris. Phelan has enough of that and blasts it out of the back. Wilson on Opari.
You can see how Wilson actually planned on Opari getting ahead on that ball, but it going behind him.
Montague, a lache. Long lash fought off by Grinwis and dealt with nicely, immediately played out by Nick Lewin. Quick throw in by State. Here's Montague. Now a little momentum and build up from the Spartans. Michigan perhaps sensing that, just sends it out as we look at that last opportunity for State.
Great opportunity for Lache to get a rip on that ball. Grinwis is up to the challenge. And I think a little more of that can be a difference maker for Michigan State in this first half. You've got this wind at your back. You've got the sun in the eyes of the opponent. You got to go into the locker room with an advantage. You don't want to have to come out defending without any goals on the board. Now, you mentioned that the coin toss was won by Michigan State. They decided to defend, going with the wind. We were talking to Tim Lenahan, the head coach of the Northwestern Wildcats, moments ago, and he was telling us about the nightmare that he had against Notre Dame. Not the result of the game, but the fact that they chose to go with the wind or defend against the wind in the first half. The wind shifted at halftime. They were defending against the wind in the second half.
You remember him telling us that story in season. The humble head coach right away admits it was he that made the wrong decision with that wind shifting. Is now Michigan behind the ball, trying to craft it into the box. Arnone was trying to slip loose, marked well by Kevin Cope.
That's just nifty ball work by Lache.
Wind doesn't seem to bother Latif too much.
My goodness, he is so confident on the ball.
There's that confident Lache. Gets it back, but only for a moment. Zeke Harris with the protection. Klemczak. Second try, just bends it out of range of Lache.
It's worth mentioning, since I brought up Tim Lenahan, that the Wildcats, of course, finished that game winning 2-0 against Notre Dame. Notre Dame at the time ranked tops in the country, and certainly you would assume anyway would be a disappointment that the host team's not in the championship game. That happens a lot. There's no doubt about it. But Tim Lenahan, the competitor that he is, and the Wildcat squad that he's built, the program that he's built here in Evanston is a program that demands a tremendous amount of respect.
While watching Big Ten sports, add to the action with BTN Connect. See all the Twitter activity from around the conference, get in-game stats, and interact with our experts. Join your favorite team with btn.com/connect. Get socially charged. There's Henderson. He opened up the scoring For the Spartans, off the cross from Connerty. Connerty, number 9, a crafty little player. This is Henderson. Trying to scoop it into the box. Was thinking Nick Wilson was going to make a forage for it. Spartans behind the ball. Henderson again testing the back line. Sprung loose for Zeke Harris with a lot of room to roam down the near side. Makes the cut on Henderson, gets it by Alache. Little combination in the middle, back from Roan. James Murphy was clipped on the way forward for Michigan.
It's a really nice combination sequence for the Michigan Wolverines. Luke Norman comes in and slows things down, whistled for the foul opportunity for Michigan. Ball served in the air is going to get held up just a hair. And so Chapman's probably advised not to take a rip at goal at this point. Or I beg your pardon, Pereira not advised to drop one in on the frame. But a chip up and let those big bodies battle for it inside the 18, but outside the 6 makes all sorts of sense.
4-man wall, 10 yards in front. Pereira lines things up. Into the wind, curving away. Getting ahead on it, rising up for Michigan State, Noble Sullivan. Dean Damon Rensing hasn't been a head coach for a long time, but he's been a part of this Michigan State program for a while.
Well, actually, he turns 38 tomorrow, and he's been a Spartan for 19 of those years, including one as the assistant coach, even for the women's team. So half his life in the Michigan State green and white. Happy birthday to Damon Rensing. Of course, 40-plus years, Joe Baum was a head coach or an assistant coach and a player, and Joe Baum texted him this morning. Damon said, you know what, I was a little nervous until I got the text from the old coach, Joe Baum.
Good stuff there to relax him. He was a 3-year starter back in the day, between 93 and 96 at the green and white. Got his bachelor's degree in communication in 1997, and you know that means a whole heck of a lot, Chris.
Sure does.
He can communicate. He's been doing it well.
Both of these coaches have sold the quality of trust to both of their teams throughout the course of the season. For Michigan State, it's, yeah, we're losing players to injury and other reasons, and now we've got players back. Just trust me, this is going to work. It's going to pay off. And for Michigan, the message of trust is for Shaka Daly to say, you know, the program that I ran at Providence, things worked well for us. I'm going to go ahead and use some of that here. You got to buy into it. You got to have faith. I know you all worked with a different coach for 2, 3, 4 years. You got to stay with me on this one. And they're believing now. Both these teams are in a good spot.
About 20 minutes into this match, Michigan into the penalty area, looking for the cross. Looks like off of Alache. No, it will be a goal kick. Going end line there hard, TJ Roan.
Ball had all sorts of speed getting to the goal line. Great work by Alache to get in.
The freshman keeper, Zach Bennett, using the wind to his advantage. Do you give the advantage to any side here, 20 minutes into the match?
I'm thinking, I actually don't, because I think Michigan, when they keep the ball on the ground, they do really nicely. There's nothing really slowing them down in terms of combining. For Michigan State, they're struggling a little bit to find feet in the attacking third.
Van Sluten finds it. Who's calling for the foul is now it's Tyler Arnone, continues the attack into the feet of James Murphy. Murphy, a one bouncer into the box, had Roan coming after it.
Well, you can't underestimate Murphy's speed. His first touch with the ball, getting forward, he was well out of reach of Alache defensively anyway. Zeke Harris kept his elbow out. challenge for that ball.
Fatai Alashe down for the Spartans. Physical play between these two sides, top two teams in the conference in fouls.
So the contact shouldn't be much of a surprise. Got to go straight up for that ball, and Zeke had his elbow out just a hair. That's not going to be acceptable play.
What do you teach kids when you go for an aerial challenge?
Well, you know, coaches have always taught, keep your elbows out. We tell the kids because of balance, but we also know that you want to be protecting yourself too. But you can't.
Trying to get the shot on. Jay Chapman not through the wall.
You can't jerk that elbow when you go up.
Keeping the elbows down here on the attack. Chapman, Connerty takes it to the end line. Opari protecting. Another punch off the goal post. Montague got a look. Montague up for it again. And it's Michigan dealing with the pressure. Not done with the dangers. Chapman keeps the possession alive. The Wolverines called on the foul. The momentum will continue as Connerty down. A dangerous free kick upcoming.
Well, Connerty does a terrific job of getting outside, serving the ball across the goal mouth, and Adam Montague gets all sorts of size in there as he gets the rebound off of Opari's first head ball. Looks like goal post there, Dan. And then the quick flick on the clearance. Just a matter of inches.
Now, an opportunity that could pose some problems to Grinwis and the Wolverines.
We saw a goal by Northwestern against Ohio State in this exact same situation with the same sort of breeze, too. Watch the far post because it's where the ball could get loose. I doubt Cope is going to strike this.
He does it. Phelan left foots it. Grinwis out to the 6, gets a piece of his own man, and also paws it aside.
Well, I'm not sure who made the contact there. As Keener went up, Grinwis went up, and Klemzak went up. Klemzak and Keener do not back down from physical play. It looks like Grinwis got a hold of a part of the head of his defender on the follow-through.
It was Grinwis with the knock on Klemzak. See the impressive numbers from the sophomore. Now having to deal with a corner with swirling winds. Phelan, low service, breezing in there for a look was Montague.
It'll be another corner kick, but from the other side now. And these restarts under these conditions can be really tough for the defenders.
For Phelan, the Spartans give them more repetition. They just start to get accustomed to the wind. Second consecutive corner here for the Spartans. Approaching the final 20 minutes of the opening half. This one bent in nicely, but a little too far for Montague.
And to your point, Dan, they are lucky enough to get another corner kick at some point in this half. He'll know to take a little off that on the next service.
Just starting to get a feel for this match. 0-0 the score so far in this all-Michigan championship.
Back to Lakeside Field in Evanston, the campus of Northwestern. It's the Big Ten tournament final. Michigan and Michigan State tied at 0, and it's that time of the year to talk about dancing. And 4 Big Ten teams with, I think, legitimate claims to a spot in the NCAA tournament. Indiana with big wins over St. Louis, that tie with Louisville, they are definitely in. How about the Northwestern Wildcats, the ace of Trump with that big win over Notre Dame? That's a #1 RPI team, and that could get them in. Then the Michigan Wolverines and Michigan State, 2 of the hottest teams in the country right there. Michigan with that big win over Indiana. Michigan State has beaten Indiana twice. Guys, I think all 4 with a legitimate chance to dance in the NCAA tournament.
A lot of reason to play hard today, too, also.
Sure, with that automatic bid. 22 teams get the automatic bid to the 48-team tournament. And I agree with Dean on the a couple of the choices. I do think it makes it hard for Northwestern if Michigan State wins this afternoon, because I don't think you can look over Michigan. So I think it makes it really hard for Northwestern if the result favors Michigan State today. You know, we love it. Dean and I were talking before the game back when a couple of years ago when I think we saw 5 teams from the Big Ten Conference in the NCAA tournament. That was a real joy. But I also agree that you can't overlook some of the big victories that the Wildcats had. That game against Notre Dame at home, huge.
Ball's been stuck in the wind for about 10 seconds after that distribution out of the back for Michigan. Finally, it's Ryan Keener. The little right-footed jab forward. As the wind is blowing, Northwestern University, the host school of the Big Ten men's tournament. This is the championship match. Michigan State in green taking on the maize in blue of the University of Michigan. Dean Linke, Chris Doran, Dan Kelly, Big Ten Network crew. So glad you could join us for a wonderful soccer season. Executive producer Alex Birchie in charge. See, the women's doing some good work now too, also in the big dance. We had a great championship last weekend in Bloomington as comes down for the Spartans in green and white.
Backside. All right.
Zalache, the orchestrator in the middle.
In the middle, cover BK.
Back to the target.
Cover in the middle, backside,
Jay Chapman.
TJ. On your back, TJ.
Has the support out wide. One bouncer. And Grinwis had some company coming. Baroni making a run to the near post.
Dan, one of the things about this sequence is that it starts with the goal kick where Michigan State makes the field so short, and so they've got very little space in which to work. What a great ball served in. Grinwis not able to get a paw on it. And the Spartans making runs to the far post in hopes to get at the other end of those services.
Grinwis came awful close to getting his fingertips on it. Tough getting those goal kicks out of his own third. Both these teams are strong mentally. It's just like the officiating. You weigh the weather before, then you just play on and deal with it. This is a Lachey. Zalache will let Klemzak knock it forward. The other Alache, Fatai for Michigan State. Job by Jay Chapman to win the ball. Dominic Baroni. The flick, no one making a run forward for Michigan State.
Baroni looking to the outside, hoping to get some help on a run. Good to see Dominic back. And he aggravated an injury. Certainly dealt with that ACL surgery last year, came back, then he had the other aggravation with the, I believe it was an ankle, and he re-aggravated an injury a couple of weeks ago. And good to see him healthy.
What do you do if you're Adam Grinwis? These distributions up in the air aren't going very far, but his hand is kind of being forced from that forward pressure from State.
You know, may want to mix it up a little bit with a short distribution.
Henderson from distance. Grasped there by Grinwis. BTN goes where you want, when you want it with BTN to go, presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Watch live events and BTN original programming on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. BTN to go is available at no extra charge to subscribers who receive BTN through cable, satellite, or participating video providers. To learn more, visit btntogo.com. Also available in the App Store and Google Play. James Murphy clashing heads there with Keener.
You think you can drive it? Try it. You think you can drive it? Try it. Hey.
Keener says it was an elbow.
So trying to find that right one, all right?
Well, he got it, at least a hand in his throat. But I think everyone's watched how physical Keener is in this tournament, the way he's played. And to see some of the knocks that he's taken and gotten up from, the official may be wondering if there may have been a little acting involved there. But you don't want to have to win a tournament championship without a guy like Ryan Keener. So critical to this entire mix that Damon Rensing has put together. And you know how important this game is. A win today certainly puts the Spartans in the NCAA tournament. And I think solidifies some of the work, maybe some of the emotional work that Coach Rensing and his staff have had to do over the last several weeks. They finally got a chemistry established with the players that they're using in their starting 11 and the rotation of subs. They've got bodies they can depend on, and they're getting more consistency in play, and that's really paid off for Michigan State.
It was Kevin Cope, number 3 in green and white, the defender who broke his orbital bone, or his face, if you will, just the second match into the season last year. It gave Ryan Keener a lot more responsibility and time and room to grow up on the fly.
And then when Cope came back and Keener was in there, those two guys played together with the Michigan Wolves, and so they've got a really nice understanding with one another.
Keener directing traffic. Everybody move forward. Right now it's the Spartans' advantage. Right now Adam Grinwis can't even get the ball to cooperate on the goal kick.
If this was natural grass, it might be a little bit easier, but certainly on the synthetic surface, tough to keep the ball still in 39-mile-an-hour winds.
You see the effect of that wind. Connerty takes it down. Pereira able to scalpel it out. Solange provides the pressure, opens up the door for Van Sloot. Now it's Zeke Harris trotting down the near side. Harris testing Thalen. Thalen stays right with him, breaks it up nicely.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too much or too optimistic a play there. Zeke Harris trying to get the ball between his legs and not able to accomplish that task. He had runners with him, and maybe a quicker service suits them better in that transition. Well, we mentioned that one of the keys for Michigan State is to stay connected defensively, but in that sequence, Michigan had them disconnected and almost had a numbers up situation. You got to capitalize on that when you can.
Wolverines trying to capitalize. Fabio Pereira, James Murphy on the outside. TJ Roan runs into the defending of Luke Norman.
Boy, it's not pretty with Luke Norman, but he is effective. Gets his body between the opposing player and the ball, turns with it, and clears it out of danger. If nothing else, it gives the Spartans a chance to reorganize and get numbers back.
Norman, the transfer from Wake Forest, will have to defend again. Michigan. Ambitious right foot. Pereira had Van Slooten making a run down the right side, but elected to launch it.
And one more point here, Dan. Michigan in a numbers equal situation. They've got guys backing up. They should be looking for one more pass in order to expose the Michigan State defense.
Few options were available. It's off the head of Chapman. Softly to the feet of Grinwis. Keeps it on the floor here to Klemzak. Chapman and the Spartans. Henderson switching points of attack. There's Luke Norman pushing forward. By one man, Luke Norman still. Finds some support, crossing to Montague. Changing directions off the side, netting.
Give Norman credit in the buildup here, and he gets through a Michigan defender. Does a really nice job of finding his help on the outside. And the ball whipped in. We've seen a couple of these over the course of the last few minutes, with Connerty whipping it in real quick, hoping for a one-touch finish.
Just hear the fight there from Keener and Roan as they go up for it. Dominic Baroni and Luke Norman on the outside for Michigan State. Norman going forward, draws the contact along the far touchline. Quiet moments in the match with these two teams in the tournament. It's when you usually see a goal. First strike so important in soccer, but a day like today, even more important is Thalen. Lines things up for the green and white.
Go way deep and stay outside the far post.
Keener was cruising forward. The Wolverine is down in the box. Zeke Harris was on the wrong end of that challenge with Keener coming forward.
Zeke Harris was in there, and Fatai Alashe. Alashe down on the ground. That's outside the far post, and contact with Keener's head. Sends Alashe to the mat for a count. Great work by Norman.
He's got the will. Grin was out with some defenders trying to quiet down the situation. There's Norman again. Wow. Pereira down for Michigan.
There's a lot of gamesmanship going on right now, and a lot of strong, hard play on the part of the Spartans.
You can hear it and see it, the fight coming from Michigan State.
Here's Norman coming in. And you know, his foot was down. His cleats weren't up, and that's where his argument is. He just got to the ball sooner.
Top two teams in the conference in fouls, as you see. Not a surprise, the physical nature of this match here in the opening half. Last couple minutes, and you touched on it first. First we saw his defensive work, but then starting to stride forward. The senior Luke Norman, number 14 from Michigan State, is playing some hard minutes here late in the opening half. A little too hard most recently. Restart Michigan. Brian Klemczak. Zalache was looking for it. On the counter, here comes State. Floated over the top for Montague. Dealt with cleanly by Klemczak on the outside.
Backside, see Roman.
Jay Chapman goes for a little spin. Into the box, laid off by Baroni. Zalache, now punched! State strikes Montague the Rocket!
That goal for Michigan State scored by number 13, Adam Montague.
Now this is where a player learns to stay out of the pack and let the ball pop out and then finish. Montague probably did this when he was a 4- and 5-year-old playing in East Lansing. Couple of touches out, somebody's got to get to it. Michigan collapses, but Montague is just floating out there, waiting for the ball to release. Great defensive work by Michigan up to this point here. And Montague gets his 7th goal of the season.
Those goal scorers, they just know where to find the quiet areas, and that ball pops out, and it was a right-footed rocket. Grinwis had no chance.
You know, I can hear it now. His family members saying, we're trying to get Adam to be more aggressive. He just doesn't seem to want to get in there and you know, play with the other kids. No, Adam's actually being really smart. He's waiting for that ball to pop out, and then he's going to finish the play. That's really just solid sensory on the part of Adam Montague. And we weren't seeing this early in the season, and Dean knows this because Dean and I did some Michigan State games as well. He was struggling a little bit, maybe a bit of a sophomore slump, but he has certainly come out of it in the last couple of weeks.
All Big Ten freshmen last year. Been playing on this Sunday like he wants to be the tournament MVP of the 2012 Big Ten men's tournament here at Northwestern University. As we approach the final 6 minutes of this opening half, Montague's 7th of the season has Michigan State out in front 1-0. Salashe tracking back whistle.
Peter, watch your foot now.
CB, easy. You do have to win the ball.
Hey, it's gonna curl out.
Salashe and Michigan State using the 30-mile-per-hour winds to their favor here in the opening half, preparing for a free kick. Fabio Pereira behind it. One-man wall to Connerty.
Drop! Away at him, Fabio!
Low service, not much behind it for Pereira.
Yeah, not the service that Fabio wanted, that's for sure.
Sprinting Connerty. Just making the keeper do something a little quicker than he wanted to.
Yeah, Klemczak was waiting, and that ball sort of slowed up a bit. Or maybe give Connerty credit. He closed down a lot faster than anyone counted on.
Just shot at a cannon, number 9 in green and white. Had the wind behind him too. I guess that helps on a day like today. It's like a slingshot there coming through the middle of the park. Is now Thalen near touchline. Strategically drops it down to Luke Norman.
Look at Luke Norman making the run to the far side, out of the back.
14 in green has been everywhere here in the opening half.
Well, he loves to be on the attack. You know, he's got 3 goals and a couple of assists. Loves to get in and connect with his teammates.
Heaved in by Thalen. So it was knocked down by Keener. Back for another look. This time a little closer. Thalen floats it into the air, and Grinwis says enough of this, and out to punch it away. Zeke Harris fails on the clearance. It's Connerty again, hassling that back line with that tenacious speed right on the back line of Michigan. Finally, they escape the danger. The Wolverines racing the other way. It's Keener. Just takes it away. Momentum clearly on the Spartan side. Kreutz on the outside, turns it in. Montague just gets underneath it, or it's 2-0 for Michigan State, and you can see Montague frustrated with that result.
Yeah, maybe not the frustration that we've seen early in the season. How about Keener turning this all the way around? Quick release and get out of town for Michigan, but Keener's there in the midfield to put a stop to that. Kreutz on the other side finds his open man. Montague with the right thought. You know, there would be times when Montague would get up from that play, hang his head real low. Early in the season, it just wasn't happening for him. Now he knows he missed an opportunity. He'll make good on it next time through.
You watched a little pro soccer in your day. You look at Ryan Keener. Does he have Major League Soccer potential written on him?
The fact that he doesn't back down from a physical challenge is huge. It's a huge upside for anybody watching him. And he knows that, you know, there were all the MLS teams had representatives here throughout the course of the week watching these players. They want to see who the next star is going to be, and they want to find him here in the Big Ten Conference.
We talked about it in the semifinals. You can mention it again in the championship. He's already got pro hair.
You're the one who mentioned it. I don't know what your obsession is, but apparently he liked the comment too, because we got some feedback from him and some of the folks who follow the Twitter deck, or whatever it's called, the Twitter opportunities that are out there for the kids. We've heard a lot of feedback.
He likes to hold court. Sometimes he has his own press conference, right?
That did happen the other day. And why not? He scored his first goal of the year.
And it was a class finish there. He's trying to make the connection over the top. It's been the tournament of surprises. The 2 teams from Michigan taking down everyone. Meeting here in the championship match. Under 2 minutes to go in this opening half. Montague has the only goal of the game. Klemczak not out. Now the crack coming from Michigan. Fought off by Grinwis. Michigan State, it was Baroni with the bomb.
Baroni unleashes, and we've seen plenty of that. He had double-digit goal scoring a couple of years ago. Hasn't gotten back to it.
Phelan from the corner, just blown a bit by the wind there.
Yeah, got to get that service out. But ball served inside the 6 have been actually beneficial for Michigan State. They've caused a lot of problems for Michigan.
Play in the first half.
So you can't blame them for giving it another try. Now it's important for Michigan State to take these lessons they've learned as they've watched Michigan attempt to defend with the wind at their faces and flip it in the second half, assuming, of course, the wind stays in the same direction when they come out of the locker room. For the Wolverines, I think the big test in the second half is going to be find your game early. You've got to find the game early with the wind at your back. You can't take 15 minutes to figure it out. You got to know what to expect, and you've got to figure it out sooner.
Wolverines have been a first half team this year. They're going to have to find it in the second. Chapman absorbs the bump, swarmed by Mays and Blue. Just pops loose to Montague again. Here, though, he can't take a crack. Floats the ball with a little chip, trying to create some trouble. Quieted down by Grinwis, but one gets by Grinwis, a rocket. From Montague, his 7th strike of the season. Michigan State on top 1-0 after the first 45 minutes. Dean is joined by the Spartans head coach, Damon Renzi.
Damon, as you know, you won the coin toss. The win is almost unbearable. How important was it to get a goal with the win?
Well, it was vital. I mean, we're probably a little disappointed not just to have just one, but hey, you got to have that lead. Puts a little pressure on Michigan in the second half, and you know, teams can play a little bit against the wind. Michigan showed that, and we feel comfortable getting the ball down, so we'll be all right.
Okay, so tell us, what are you going to do to go against the wind now defensively?
Well, I think you just will play 4-2-3-1. We got to play the ball on the ground when you win it and get it wide, but maybe a little bit deeper, and then you know, just be patient. You know, it's not going to be perfect, but you just got to try to get out with a win.
Happy birthday, Coach. Back to Dan and Chris.
Thanks, Dean. Indeed, it is a happy birthday so far for Damon Renzi's side for Michigan. First goal allowed in over 260 minutes. Sparty off to a good start in the championship match of the Big Ten tournament. Beautiful shot of Old Glory on this windy day in Northwestern University. An early happy Veterans Day to all those who served, past and present. About to start the second half. Michigan State on top 1-0. Moments ago, Dean Linke had a chance to chat up Shaka Daly.
We try to play in their half. Obviously, got to see if goals are a premium. You know, we almost got out of that half with a ferocious win, but they scored the goal. So, you know, it's very, very difficult to play. So, see if we can get it to wide areas, get good service, and keep them under pressure.
Coach, good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
East Coast guy, Shaka Daly, saying this is a ferocious win. Now a different situation here in the second.
Yeah, and he mentioned playing in their half. Remember, Michigan State figured out how to keep the field short against Michigan in the first half when they had the wind at their backs. And now Michigan's got to do that too. Get numbers forward, keep the defensive line up, force Michigan State into their defending half most of the next 45 minutes and see if you can create some chances.
What do you mean by keeping the field short, Coach?
You keep the field short so you can't. You got numbers forward so they can't get past the midfield line. They'll constantly feel like the Spartans will constantly feel like they're fighting just to get clear of their defensive half of the field.
James Murphy was looking to nudge it on for Pereira. Here's Pereira. Rough first touch, but he gets it back. Tyler Arnone pushing forward. Zeke Harris thought about sending it into the box. Now moved in Pereira. Couldn't get the shot away. Saved by Arnone out wide.
Good decision by Zeke Harris to hold off on the big service, play the short ball, and see if Arnone can sneak a ball past the defense and in and behind.
Here's Zeke Harris again. Trying to penetrate off the dribble. Keener can't knock it down. Dangerous second ball. Pereira going down to the box, and Michigan State now in possession. Nick Lewin looking for Zeke Harris making a run down the right side.
Yeah, and Harris actually will be critical in this. We all know how he likes to get forward. He keeps the field wide, and that service to the outside will certainly give him the opportunity to sneak a ball in and behind too.
One in the handball called there. Alashe in the Wolverines.
Away! Away!
TJ Roan. Keener doesn't give him any options or breathing room. This is Pereira. To the feet of Nick Lewin. Alashe right there to greet him. Slots the pass to Roan, but there to dispossess him nicely, Luke Norman. Norman right up the middle it goes. Chapman to the goal scorer of this match, Adam Montague. Opari there back to defend for Michigan. Montague. Chip intended for Chapman, but it's the Wolverines. Solving the attack now on the quick counter. The wind behind him up to 30 miles per hour this afternoon. The shores of Lake Michigan, Northwestern University. If you're just joining us, this is for a Big Ten tournament title. All Michigan affair. Montague has already slipped loose once with the rocket. Montague again, Opari on him. Montague! Grinwis diving across to stop Montague.
Like Adam Montague's holding his lower left abdomen after that sprint forward.
Michigan the other way, keeping things interesting. TJ Roan as we look at that Montague chance.
Yeah, a couple of situations where Montague's found himself isolated with Kofi Opari, and he's been able to get around here a couple of times. Does a nice job of turning and getting to goal. Can't give him looks.
Maybe Montague just got the wind knocked out of him, running into that wind, still surging forward with a good chance. The wind and weather has been a factor this afternoon. Not the temperatures. They're going to be below freezing tonight in the Chicagoland area. The temperature is held pleasant, but it's those winds. It's not just the gusts, as you mentioned. It's the consistent wind.
Makes it difficult to defend. We talked about how Michigan has got to find their pace with the game and pace with the wind a lot sooner than they settled into the first half of play. Ball's got to stay on the ground. They've got to depend on some of the friction from the ball traveling across the surface to slow down some of these slotted balls.
Opening minutes of the second half, Michigan State, the 1-0 lead. James Murphy, he's been a class player all tournament. TJ Roan searching for an option. Van Sluten spun around. Now Nick Lewin pushing to Pereira. 1v2 on the outside, gets the support of Lewin, crafting it into the post as he had TJ Van Sluten rising up for it. Dean, how do you think Michigan is adjusting here in the second half?
Well, down a goal with the win already. You're seeing Zeke Harris release. The minute Grinwis had it, he was past midfield even before the Michigan midfielder. He's a great athlete. I know Chris Dorn loves him as well. So look for him, try to get wide to Zeke Harris, and if they can cross it with the wind behind him, Michigan could answer.
You know, in essence, you've got a third defender in the win. And so you can leave those two deep defenders back. You can depend on the third defender, the wind, to help you out. Get those outside backs to push forward and get that width that you need.
Wolverines in white looking for their first Big Ten championship since 2010.
Yes!
Into the box. Van Sluten's left-footed lash is blocked as the Wolverines will get the throw in. Lewin off the chest to Pereira. Wedging in between Dominic Baroni.
Great work by Norman. Turns into a 2v1 when Pereira tries to turn with the ball against Dominic Baroni. Norman comes up and does the dirty work underneath.
See the most recent pass from Norman, playing with such composure. Cody Henderson leads the brigade the other way. Dominic Baroni on the outside. So Pari tracking back for the Wolverines. Jay Chapman, 4 goals on the year, including a hat trick earlier this season. Baroni wins it. Knocked down by Connerty. Big goal kick for Grunwis.
Connerty does a great job to get behind that ball and keep it down and in. Numbers have got to get back. Michigan State's a little slow to get back.
Pereira goes down quite easily. Pereira showing that frustration, going hard for it after Norman. Nick Lewin in Michigan, trying to find goal for the first time. Comes down to Arnone, back to target. Alache, met by his brother there quickly. Now it's Latif slipping loose. Out wide to Zeke Harris. Harris, the low drive, spit out by Bennett, but handled by his back line. And Michigan State trying to quiet things down on the outside.
That's what Dean referenced earlier with Zeke Harris just sort of drifting out there. He does a nice job. You know, he's an outside back. You're really patient. You're waiting for your chance, and that's what Zeke did. And as a result, he created a critical opportunity.
Kevin Cope rejecting the service in the box. There's Cope again. Helped out by Sean Connerty. It's Klemzak, Van Sluten anticipating that pass. Keener will bump it forward. Well, we mentioned Latif and Fatai, the brothers. Fatai for Michigan State, Latif for Michigan. Our own Dean Linke had a chance to talk to the parents who you know who are watching this match moments ago. Spoke to Wahid Alache.
Well, it's really interesting. This is the first time it's really been hard for me watching them play against each other. Normally, I just let the best guy wins, but today it's a little bit different because this is Latif's possibly last game. At least it's the last game in the Big Ten. So, you know, it's really hard because I know one of them is going to be very disappointed. So it's tough for me today.
Not only are they great athletes, so they're great students.
Yes, they are. So I'm really, really proud of that. Latif is going to finish his degree in 3.5 years in December. So he's going to get his BS in mechanical engineering, which is really, you know, a good thing for me. I'm an engineer as well, so that makes me really, really proud. And Fatai is on track to do his work in accounting as well. So I'm really happy about that.
A proud father indeed, and a total Big Ten family. Both Wahid and Polly went to Illinois. The sons are at Michigan and Michigan State.
I can tell you, just as a parent, it's probably nice that when this game is over, you can put both boys on their respective buses and send them back to campus instead of having to drive them home in the backseat of the car.
What a thrilling day for the Alache family. Pragmatic approach from Papa. Wahid saying, hey, this is Latif's last try, so if anybody's going to come away victorious, it's Latif with the last chances. Now are known from a little distance, sailing wide of the target.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan starts to launch a few from distance. I think you've got to do that with the Gus where they are now. We didn't see enough of it from Michigan State. But as the defense collapses and the Michigan State Spartans are backing up into their own 18, take a crack from 25 or 30 yards out.
Phelan has to be careful. James Murphy, right in his face. James was trying to save it.
Well, you know, a short kick out on a goal kick is even going to be difficult in wind gusts measured like this.
Stark contrast from the semifinals. It's like a peaceful little harbor here, Lake Michigan, barely a ripple.
Bennett gets a hold of that one. That was when the winds had dipped down to 7 miles an hour, as we saw in the on the wind gauge.
Chapman, the freshman keeper for Michigan State. Grinwis has allowed one, that rocket off the foot of Montague. 1-0 advantage for the Spartans. Cope protecting from the back.
Michigan, number 23, BTN Lucier.
Stingy pairing of Kevin Cope and Brian Keener.
Etienne Lucier comes into the match. He's a great story. Played 2 years with the Michigan club soccer team, and then gets his chance with the full varsity team. And now finds himself a key reserve in this critical match this afternoon for the Wolverines. Critical because for both these teams it means whether or not your season continues. Automatic bid accompanies the trophy for today's tournament championship to the NCAA tournament.
He had that big goal Friday, almost had two, is now Michigan trying to get the ball to cooperate off this corner.
Now this is sort of odd. Yeah, this forces Michigan to take a short corner kick. That kind of spoils the tactical advantage of a corner kick. They'll get another chance now. But the tactical advantage of the corner kick is that you can whip a ball in there, but if the ball's not going to stay still.
James Murphy said he's become a big fan of American football. He wants a placeholder there. There's James Murphy. Second ball, and it's a confusing bouncer, but cradled by the keeper, Zach Bennett. Big Ten soccer fans, make sure to check out the BTN Soccer Report, our weekly web show hosted by Kevin Egan on BTN.com. Interviews and breakdowns of the conference tournament finals. You can also follow on Twitter at BTN Soccer Report.
Saw Kevin at halftime downstairs, taking in this afternoon's match.
Away, away, away!
Just like James Murphy, I think he had a banner growing up in his room, keep calm and support Chelsea. This is Michigan State behind it, Jay Chapman. Looking to extend the lead to 2-0. Wilson plays it into the area. Grinwis with some shielding from his back line gets rid of it. Fatai Alashe surging forward, just showing the hunger here in the championship match.
Great step. Well, he's got a little breathing room. You know, he's been backing here in the first 15 minutes or so with Michigan in the hunt. And he's now at midfield, finding he's got a little room and using the confidence to step forward at the ball.
Jay Chapman shedding a few defenders in the middle. Weighs his options. Connerty is always a good one. Back to Chapman, right-footed just underneath. It sails over the bar. We saw them play with the lead on Friday. Michigan State, they just keep coming. Montague and Chapman in the middle, looking to launch it forward for Connerty.
Away, away, away.
You hear the constant communication. You got time. Away, away. It's Alashe. We'll toss it down the far side. TJ Van Sloot trying to make a run. As you see the beautiful scoreboard, Northwestern University, the host seed of the Big Ten Men's Championship. Michigan State trying to take the tournament title over in-state rivals Michigan. Dean Linke, Chris Doran, I'm Dan Kelly, Big Ten Network crew, and a lot of great soccer fans here just outside of Second City.
Great soccer fans. Easy trip over.
Zeke Harris. There he is again, pushing forward. Traveling pretty well, Michigan State and Michigan.
The Spartans get a tremendous crowd of support in East Lansing, and of course we've spoken a couple of times already this weekend about the kind of support the programs got, the respective programs got in that game between these two schools a week ago. 2,300 people gathered in Ann Arbor to watch their favorite teams do battle.
Damon Renzi trying to bring a Big Ten tournament championship back to East Lansing, Michigan for the first time since 2008.
You know, we should point out that the clock does not stop, as you can see in the upper left of your screen, during this situation. But if it gets bad enough, especially at the request of the Michigan Wolverines, you can bet that the clock will likely get stopped as we get later in this half. Every moment counts here for the Wolverines as they look to level this game.
Yeah, Michigan looking for their first Big Ten tournament championship since 2002 as the Spartans in green and white protecting this 1-0 lead as we move it over to Dean for a little injury news in this match.
Well, the goal scorer Adam Montague, who just came off Dan Kelly, he pulled his oblique a couple of weeks ago and he has aggravated it, so he may not come back in. If Michigan equalizes, he's not ruled out, but expect Montague to have a nice rest here on the bench for Michigan State.
Well, that means that we'll see more of Nick Wilson, and Chapman will likely drop in behind him. Playing with two front runners is probably not mandatory for Michigan State, as they're finding themselves, for the most part, doing a lot of defending.
Yeah, doing a lot of defending, a lot of surging forward from Zeke Harris. Crafts it in. James Murphy trying the bicycle. It's a routine one for Bennett.
I see the ball.
We spoke of that goal. It's been the difference maker in the first half. It was a rocket from Montague.
Montague does such a nice job of waiting and then finding the pocket, planting that ball in the back of the net, and putting the Spartans up. They needed that in the first half, going with the wind and the sun in the eyes of the defending team, the Michigan Wolverines, and now they find themselves working against that wind and looking to build numbers in the attacking half of the field.
Step to this. Good.
The cool, bright orange boots of Dominic Baroni. Tyler Arnone right there, gets some support from Malache. Causes the turnover, and it's Tyler Arnone, and the Michigan Wolverines looking to level this match.
Slide over.
Solid defending by Connerty, who was able to move back for State. Cofield Pari. This time we'll push it out wide. Lewin into the middle, Alache. Arnone back to target. James Murphy rushed forward. Be a goal kick for Chapman and the Spartans.
That's a good build-up for Michigan. The last piece I think they've yet to figure out is the diagonal ball to the outside. Some of those services are bouncing, like we just saw that one, out to Etienne Lucier. And some of them are whipped out from the midfield and served in the air. I think a lot of that has got to be played on the ground, and you've got to be playing to feet.
Saw James Murphy moments ago thinking about trying that ambitious crack from outside of 20 yards, something you talked about. Perhaps we'll see the Wolverines do here more in the second half.
Some of it starts to look like desperation, but I think you have to vary your attack, especially since they're working hard to maintain possession to the top of the 18. While it looks a little more direct than maybe Michigan would like, I think with the help of the wind, you can actually misdirect a shot. And the hope, of course, for Wolverine fans is that you catch Zach Bennett by surprise.
3v1. Arnone emerges with the ball, but settling things down the back for Michigan State quickly.
Kevin Cope does a great job of stepping in and winning that ball. Damon Rensing calls him probably one of the best center backs in the country. Strong presence in the back for the Spartans.
Now on the outside, Pereira knifes his way into the box. Pass just behind James Murphy and allows Michigan State to recapture. Norman taking down, and James Murphy always emotional out there on the pitch, and he has some words for our man in the middle and everybody else.
Murphy and Norman getting tied up. Norman on the exit with the ball at his feet, and Murphy gets a piece of him. Murphy may have objected to the speed with which Norman went to the turf, expecting that some of that physical play has been acceptable throughout the course of the match. Why would you go down now?
Love the emotion from James Murphy, but you don't want to lose it now. Down a goal under 23 minutes to go in a championship game. There's Luke Norman, the guy who provided some of that frustration. There Norman gets beat, but he's got the backup from Keener.
Well, that was nifty ball work by Pereira. The big clearance by Norman. That ball's out in Winnetka somewhere.
There's a lot.
Next town over.
There's a lot of nifty in Pereira's game.
Yeah, there is.
There he is, right on cue. Runs into the wall of Keener. Cope comes out to help it out.
Yep, despite the extra shove from Murphy.
Gamesmanship continuing here late. Heaved in. Punched away by Jay Chapman. It's Tyler Leppin. Rolled down there on the outside, giving the Spartans an escape route.
That's a monster tackle by Nick Wilson. All sorts of clean on that tackle by Wilson on the outside, and Chapman on the run ahead.
So Michigan State still coming forward. We'll see if the Wolverines can get close. Grinwis, the wind-aided kick now handled by the Spartans. Alashe will find it dropping down at his feet. Arnone out wide, looking to make the cross. Baroni rejects it.
Yeah, Baroni, what a big-time hustle play to get back on D, so his inside players don't have to get pulled and stretched outside to mark that serve ball.
Throw in right by Damon Rensing's bench. Spartans on top 1-0 from Montague's goal. Served in. Zeke Harris with the look. Just punched wide of the frame.
Got to put the size in there, and Brian Klemczak sees it. His fellow defenders inside looking for a service. Zeke does a nice job of getting at the end of it.
Things getting a little dicey around the green and white's goal. It stays out. Zeke Harris came close.
Little Wolverine in the crowd here at Lakeside Field as Michigan State on top of Michigan. 20 minutes left here as the Spartans looking for a Big Ten title. I was in the huddle though with Shaka Daly and the Michigan Wolverines, and Dan and Chris, they're going to a 3-5-2, and they're bringing in Jack Brown in the middle of the field. And Dan Kelly, who could forget the great goal by Jack Brown to beat the Buckeyes in double overtime? That's what they want from Jack Brown to find the Wolverines up top.
So hopefully it's action-jackson here in the second half. Just under 21 minutes to go as Michigan looking for that equalizer. The Alashe's up for it in the middle of the park. Pereira wanting a handball there, and it is whistled on Pereira.
Remember the imbalance in shots and shots on goal in the first half, and Michigan is making its way back up the tote board. They've just got to make one of those count before the end of the next 20 minutes. If they want to stay in this and keep their NCAA tournament hopes alive, it's safe to say that Michigan may be on the cusp regardless of this result today in terms of getting into the tournament. Michigan State, on the other hand, would like to not only avenge a regular season loss to the Wolverines, who would like to secure their spot in the big dance.
Nice technical ability flashed in the middle of the field by Jay Chapman. Here's the RPI rankings that you were talking about.
That was coming out of last week. The RPI rankings aren't formally updated. 48 teams make the big dance. 22 teams are automatically added as a result of automatic bids from conference championships, many of which are being decided today.
Deciding a championship here at Lakeside Field, Northwestern University. The two Michigan schools going at it. Not a shade of red in the Final Four for the first time in a long time. Alashe sends it forward, had Zeke Harris making a run.
Great anticipation by the goalkeeper, Zach Bennett, to step out off his line, get his arms extended. As soon as he gets a paw on that ball, he's able to pull it in and keep it securely from the run of play.
Michigan State's been adjusting well. Low-driven balls from the freshman keeper, Zach Bennett, and that back line here in the second half. James Murphy stays on the ball well. Finally losing control of it, and a guy who's been frequently taking control for Michigan State this afternoon, Luke Norman, number 14. Coming up right after our championship coverage, it's a Big Ten football replay featuring the Wisconsin Badgers, the Indiana Hoosiers. That's right after soccer here on BTN.
Well, Dean had updated us on Adam Montague and the oblique injury that he may have aggravated here. It looks like he's wrapped as he's entering the match after being addressed by the athletic trainers. One thing Adam offers, of course, in a game like this is he becomes a guy that you can get the ball to, and he can hold it up really well with his size and his technical ability.
Adam helping the ratings also in the great state of Ohio. This is a rough one for that state down south with the all-Michigan matchup. Montague has been a battler. Those 10 shots taken, he had 4 of them in the opening half, including the lone goal of this game is Michigan, Tyler Arnone. James Murphy will lay it off. Looking for Harris and Pereira. Alashe heads it out of trouble. Arnone surging forward, taking down Jay Chapman.
Arnone and the rest of the Wolverines matching the physical play that they dealt with from Michigan State in the first half. The problem with that right now is that every time a foul is called, the play stops, the ball gets set, the ball rolls because of the wind, then it has to be reset, and time is ticking off the clock for the Wolverines.
Time ticks away on the restart when that ball gets caught up in the wind too, as it's Arnone in Michigan.
Ends the match, Michigan State number 4, Tim Kreutz.
Tim Kreutz, fresh legs onto the field for Damon Rensing's side, replacing Dominic Baroni as the little ones have come out in full force at Northwestern University. Scoreline remains the same. We're about 15 minutes away from celebrating a championship. Wolverines trying to change that. Cope out of the back. Got to be careful with everything now. Alashe. Keener keeps it on the carpet, finding Montague nicely. Chapman coming in there, causing the whistle with the foul. He drew it earlier. So the kid looks on. All Big Ten freshman team trying to protect a lead here as Nick Lewin sends it into the area.
We had some contact on that restart, and it's Fatai Alashe holding his face.
Lower left of the screen. Kind of away from the ball, tough to decipher.
Looks like he ran into Zeke Harris, or Zeke Harris ran into him.
Michigan number 16, TJ Rome.
Here the clock stops for a while with just over 14.5 minutes remaining in this second half as Fatai Alashe trying to gut it out. There's the proud Papa Wahid watching both his boys. Fatai for Michigan State, Latif for Michigan.
Damon Rensing doesn't want to have to finish this game without his big-time central defending midfielder. Fatai Alashe covers all sorts of ground, physical and quick to get forward. Not so much in this second half, but he has learned to pick and choose his spots. He's grown into that position very, very well.
You know all Dad wants? He just wants both guys to get out of this match healthy.
Right.
Most important thing.
Right.
Because somebody's going to lose on this championship Sunday. Dad's going to get a win either way. Arnone trying to go forward, runs into the wall known as Keener. Klemzak will churn it into the box. Fatai Alashe protecting. Murphy, the strike doesn't get through. As Alashe dispossessed from behind by Jay Chapman. Chapman finds Montague in the midfield. James Murphy, Latif Alashe again. It's Michigan State. This time it's Sean Connerty. They get the ball and they just find 13 in the middle. We'll see if 13 can possess a little longer. Talking about Montague for Michigan State on the outside.
Yeah, Montague and Opari have gone 1v1 several times in this second half. And I think Opari's just about seen enough of it. Holding him up with his arms and the whistle blows.
Badgers, Hoosiers, the other football. Little replay coming after this match. First, we're going to raise a trophy.
Yeah, I go.
So Pari drawing the foul for the Wolverines.
Big gust of wind, got to watch your depth defensively.
Started every match this season. Had a 3-match shutout streak coming into it. Grinwith starts it. We'll do it from the other end. More time ticking away. It's been a consistent Michigan State side all season, never losing more than 2 matches. Since the Big Ten tournament started, they've just been winning. Wind causing some frustration, comes away to Michigan. Zeke Harris was trying to slot the pass through to Latif Alashe. And there's Keener, the extra shove to Alashe.
I can see why the whistle didn't blow there. Alashe tried to draw the contact. Keener's sort of laughing at it. Ball comes through. Keener keeps his arms pretty close to down. And Alashe trying to draw the foul.
Good call, Coach. It looked worse first time.
He didn't push him, did he? I don't think he pushed him.
No. But the way that Latif, the way that Latif went bounding forward, it certainly looked it, but got to sell things here late. Henderson and Connerty.
It's where numbers in the middle can start to cause havoc a little bit with defense. When Michigan's not spreading things out. They're going right up the gut with their numbers. And I'll tell you, we have each game we have talked about defenders. And this guy, Luke Norman, I mean, he has had a tremendous game. Am I right? And Alashe's getting up off the ground yet again.
That might have been a push.
The referee was right there. But I think Luke Norman has had an outstanding game. We had Keener was I think the star of the semifinal. And Damon Rensing's got another defender stepping up as yet another star. Now the love that's lost between these two teams is starting to rear its ugly head.
Here's Luke Norman. Was it a push?
Norman's going to protect the ball, going to shield it a little bit. And I think Alashe gets caught up on the corner stick. I'm not quite sure there. Jay Chapman doing the do-si-do.
Jack Brown assessed the yellow card. He was the last one that we saw there. Just take down Norman, the midfielder. Just frustration mounting for Jack here late with his side down 1-0.
On the yellow card, the clock stops, but as we've said, these moments, these seconds that tick away now become very critical for Michigan.
Rocking the risers here late. Down to the final 10 minutes. Shaka Daly on crutches from the Michigan sideline, hoping his team could fight back and get the equalizer. Right now, Kevin Cope just, well, maybe he doesn't want this ball to cooperate, although the clock stops, as Chris mentions, with that yellow card being assessed. Just let it hang in the wind. Montague finds it. Kreitz to Chapman. Kreitz again trying to slip loose. Nice defensive work by Jack Brown. Now on the outside dealing with Chapman.
Hey, on your back, Kofi. Talk to him, boy.
Jay does his part. Just earn that deep throw in. Keep possession with the green and white, protecting the lead. Not a clean touch by Zeke Harris. Safely outside by Opari. A lot of hassling by Michigan's Jay Chapman there along that far touchline.
Well, Murphy was looking to receive and turn against the defender on his back. Handball called. Coach Damon Rensing making sure that all the details are covered in there.
Ten years as an assistant. 4th year as the head guy. Looking to bring a Big Ten tournament championship to Michigan State for the first time since 2008.
Now the clock is being stopped by the referee when the ball is not sitting still.
Not sitting still for Ryan Thalen. Finally back into play, Kreitz. Zalashe. Now it's Fatai on the other side for Michigan State, number 27. So Luke Norman will send it back into the wind. Trouble getting possession across midfield. Now we'll see if Michigan can get another crack. Keener gets stripped in the corner. TJ Roan. Herrera. Pass just not served in the right spot. Couldn't contain it. Brushed forward by Jack Brown as James Murphy was coming in, and a little quick hop there in the box.
Yeah, big hop. Aided by wind and the rubber bounce, the rubber surface. That's going, whoa, a little higher than I expected. Zach Bennett does a really nice job there. Ryan Keener gets bailed out because that whole situation unfolded because Keener thought he was going to shield the ball out of bounds, and in fact it was won back by Michigan deep on the goal line.
Pereira showing some flash in the middle, broken up by Norman. This is Fatai Alashe.
Gets around his brother and lays off a nice ball.
Brights comes in wide, earns the corner nicely.
I think we know what picture is going to go up on Fatai Alashe's Facebook page. It's going to be that picture where he's got the ball on the outside and he goes around Latif.
Latif would say, it was the wind that slowed me up here late in the match.
Hey, come on, boys! Hey, Fabio, come on, let's get involved, all right? 7 minutes left, boys!
Hey, just hit it to me, boys. Hey, hit it to me.
You can hear the intensity.
Talk about conceding a corner kick. Michigan State is sending 3 players forward and leaving 6 at midfield.
Get out there! Hey, not doing anything, sir.
4 right of the center circle. It's Thalen. Baroni from the near corner. Alashe tries to go the other way for Michigan. Dragging Thalen with him. Then Thalen, the pickup artist, Jay Chapman comes in to take it, but now on the counterattack, TJ Ronan, Michigan. James Murphy couldn't get to it. James Murphy making sure that there's no messing around with his goal kick.
In for Michigan, number 19, Jason Stacy.
Jason Stacy into the match for Michigan here with under 6 to go. Stacy, number 19 in maize and blue. Northwestern University, the site of the Big Ten Men's Tournament Championship match here on this Sunday. Michigan in the white shirts, the green and white of Michigan State on top, 1-0. First half strike from Adam Montague, his 7th of the season. One of the better players of the tournament, both sides of the ball. The freshman Jay Chapman. He's been quieting a lot of situations down, but now it's Michigan on the turnover. Pereira on the outside as runners going to the box. Denied by Kevin Cope. Deep throw in for the Wolverines, looking for the goal leveler. Arnone wanted it. Deflected back towards goal and carefully handled by Zach Bennett. The lone goal of the game we spoke about, 7th goal of the season in that first half. It was a rocket. He found it in a quiet area, Adam Montague.
He did. He was drifting out. Remember, he's the front runner for Michigan State, but he had pulled out of the crowd. He recognized that Michigan's defense was collapsing. Michigan State's numbers were dropping inside the 18, and so he stayed on the periphery and waited for that ball to pop out. I think that's probably the problem that Michigan has not solved here in this second half, and that is with all the numbers forward, with all the numbers that Michigan State's dropping back, the space that's available is just outside the 18, and maybe a touch back and then the play forward is really what's going to help Michigan capitalize on a chance.
Flubbed initially by Opari. Nice recovery.
Montague was offside. The assistant referee put his flag up, had to put it down as play continued. It was let go, so Montague is going to build this play.
Montague looking for Chapman, but slicing back to save the day. Tyler Arnone. Sun's starting to sprout out from the clouds here north of Chicago.
And the sun's shining now on the Michigan State season when it looked a little dark in the early going. A couple of close losses over the course of the season. Good battles, but not the results that Coach Damon Rensing wanted. If they can hold this one out, they deserve the spotlight.
Once they got that consistency in their lineup, they've been a different side. Still some work to do as the wind continues to whip late. big foot there from Chapman. He's able to penetrate the wind a little bit. James Murphy in Michigan. Flick onto the box, towards the goal. Michigan ties it late. TJ Roan, the heroic strike.
The curse of the broadcasters, pat on the back. Michigan State gets stretched out. Michigan finds the center. And all afternoon, Zach Bennett had done a great job of stepping out to the ball, but this time he wasn't fast enough, and Michigan had a plan. Outstanding flick past the goalkeeper. The opportunity there for Michigan to draw level with the Michigan State Spartans. How about the flick on? Is that James Murphy with the last touch? Look how thin and stretched out the Michigan State defense was. Great work by the Wolverines.
Now we've got a championship match and a championship finish. All level in one. 2 10-minute potential overtimes looming. If they can't solve anything after that, they'll go to PKs. Still a little over 2 minutes to go in regulation. TJ Roan, with just over 2 minutes to go, has leveled the match for Shaka Daly, second head coach in Michigan history. First season has been a fine one. Arnone, why not go for the game winner? He draws a dangerous free kick here late.
We'll see a card for Kevin Cope. Or Keener.
They're almost interconnected, those two.
So Keener gets the yellow. But the opportunity here, and this is where you will see a crack on goal for sure, and I'm going to bet that Pereira is going to go ahead and work some of his magic.
Four-man wall assembled for State. Just over 2 to go in regulation. Spartans, moments ago, allowed the leveling goal from Roan as Pereira stands over it.
Think about the pressure on the 6'3" goalkeeper for Michigan State. The freshman facing one of the better finishers in the Big Ten.
Klemzak also hanging around there with Pereira. Fabio looking for the finish. Chapman keeps it out right on the line.
Man, what a strike. Did not test Bennett all that much except to hold on to that ball.
And he did for dear life. Tyler Arnone in Michigan now surging forward with that momentum. Why not take a long rip? And again, cradled by Bennett. Distributes out wide to Luke Norman. 90 seconds to go in regulation. This is a Lachey. Now Michigan just feeling it.
And that's brother against brother.
Latif forcing Fatai to take him down. Another free kick coming here for the Maize and Blue. Jack Brown getting some words from Fabio Pereira. Saw Zeke Harris and James Murphy with the flick-ons earlier in this match that gave the goal to Michigan off the poke of Roan. Down to 40 seconds. Backing that wall off just a hair is Brown now ready to rip it. Here comes Jack. Snaps it in. Chapman not clean handling. Little spillage and a little overzealous attack coming in there from Pereira in Michigan.
The freshman goalkeeper again up to the test. Big time strike. Got to cut that one off. Bennett does a great job in that situation.
Don't go anywhere. The plot thickens. Nothing settled through 90 minutes. We're going to play some extra soccer here for the Big Ten Men's Tournament Championship match. It was Montague in the first half for Michigan State. Wolverines, they look down and out, ready to go home. Then just under 3 minutes to go, T.J. Roan said, stick around. We're going to overtime, gentlemen. Roan with the leveler. He is the reason that valiant comeback by the Maize and Blue late is why we're in the extra time of soccer. Here are the overtime rules, the first of 2 10-minute potential overtimes.
And it starts with a coin toss, and Michigan State won the coin toss again, so they'll make the decision as to whether to take the ball or defend one of the 2 goals. That's important today because of the wind. When we get done with the second overtime period, we go right to kicks from the penalty spot. And of course, neither team really wants to get to that point, but a tournament champion has to be decided.
Dean has a little bit more on the green and white of Michigan State.
Well, that man right there, number 21, is 2 for 2 on the coin toss, Chris Dorn. And of course, they're going to take the win right off the bat. And in the huddle with Damon Renton, he had 2 questions. First, Adam Montague, can you go? Emphatically, he said yes, he is in pain, but he is going. Secondly, he said, we are going to press these 10 minutes, the most important. And then you could hear Kevin Cope say, everything, boys, give it everything.
Just solid stuff from inside the huddle. I love that, and it doesn't surprise us. Adam Montague, with the way his career has, in his sophomore year, sort of flourished. And this guy, Kevin Cope, anchoring the back, the PTL Defender of the Year, has brought his talents not only to this game, but to this week of play in the Big Ten tournament.
Somebody's got to lose. It's going to be a tough one. It's been well fought from both Michigan State and the University of Michigan. Now just let it all roll here in extra time. You have to think we saw it after scoring that goal. The confidence just started to swell for Michigan because there were some hanging heads down, trailing most of the match 1-0.
And we actually saw some frustration too. Certain points where you thought composure was being lost, but they reined it all in, and now they've got another chance to earn the trophy.
So here we go in overtime. Big Ten tournament title on the line from Northwestern University, Michigan State. The green and white behind the ball, Ryan Phelan. Connerty tries to go over the top. Van Sluten denies it. Little frustration from Fatai Alashe. A lot of soccer played. Began Wednesday with the quarters, then another match Friday in the semis. Third match of this championship Sunday. Heavy legs. As you can see, the Wolverines playing into the wind, brushed forward. Van Sluten tries to get loose. Michigan earning the throw in here in the first 2 minutes of overtime. The Ultras have traveled. Michigan spit out by Kevin Cope. Montague leaping up for it. Luke Norman will settle things down, leads the brigade. Tugging on him from behind is Arnone. That surge forward, Luke Norman drawing the contact.
Well, Norman's stock has gone up considerably during this match, and just in this one sequence where he's able to bring the ball down, fighting the wind, gain control, get through the midfield, and earn some real estate for the Michigan State Spartans, and then a foul too. Great work by Norman.
He's played with championship hunger all Sunday. 14 for Michigan. Phelan and the Spartans. There to get ahead on it and deny entry into the box. Pereira. Scooting down the near side, Van Sluten. Alache is back for State. Spatai has done a good job staying disciplined, not drifting out of position during this tournament for Coach Rensing's side.
We're seeing a lot of gamesmanship here tonight, or in this short amount of time of the first overtime period for Michigan.
Hung up in that 30-mile-per-hour wind from the south. Chapman pokes it in the area. Grinwis makes a large stop. Michigan State, Dominic Baroni with the right-footed strike.
Quick combination, and Dominic Baroni gets behind the defense, gets to the near post and takes a crack at it. Other than winning a couple of coin tosses, the senior captain would love to do just a hair more for his teammates.
Ryan Thalen off balance, lets it go, and Dean Linke has a little bit more on Mr. Baroni.
Well, we've been talking a lot about the Alaches, but if you think the Baroni's been around Michigan State forever, well, they have, because there's been two of them. Dominic, and last year, Mark Baroni was all Big Ten defender. He has graduated. Dominic Baroni gets the extra year because he sat out with the ACL. Sticking with brothers, who could forget Luke Norman's brother, who starred at Notre Dame? And then finally with boys, Tommy McMenamin's wife, Jen, had a baby boy, Rhodes, yesterday. They're back in Ann Arbor.
Rough aerial challenge. Ryan Keener going up for it, and down for Michigan, Pereira. Norman and Keener have a chat.
Norman and Keener and Pereira. Well, the arms didn't get the back of the head.
Keener and Norman also almost collide going up for that.
See an awful lot of desire after that ball in the air.
Point of the match where these competitors stop thinking about their well-being. What a tournament it's been for Fabio Pereira. Good to see him get up. Michigan State saying, why are we giving it to them?
Pereira's got to come off the field if they stop the clock for him.
And he responds. He's going off the field, as coach says.
He'll be summoned back on by the referee as soon as the opportunity allows.
Back onto the pitch for Fabio. Alache raising up for it. James Murphy, the little back heel. Now James Murphy. Cooley turns it into the middle for Tyler Arnone. It's Alache there. Van Sluten, Arnone. Trying to drop a dart down in the far corner. Pereira saunters onto the ball. Keener out there to greet him. Pereira going in line. Sheds the defender. Alache was looking for the second ball, but coolly, cleanly handled by Kevin Cope. Errant pass by Cope, though. Arnone in Michigan will get another crack potentially. Alache couldn't extend far enough.
We may see our... Yeah. We didn't actually see a punt from Bennett, except for the first time that he handled the ball in the first half, with the wind being what it was. An 85-yard punt that bounced once and went out into the parking lot was not a good idea. But given that you're in an overtime situation trying to get a goal and end this, the punt doesn't seem like a bad idea.
Get a shot on target, keeper to keeper. But here's a deep throw in for Michigan State. Ryan Phelan, as the sun peeks its head out towards the near post. Cooley cleaned up by Pereira. James Murphy. Michigan going the other way. Contact drawn. Is it Pereira down again? And it is.
And the yellow card to Fatai Alashe as a result. At first glance, it looked like it was a 50-50 ball. Alashe with the ball. A little extra step by Alashe and deemed dangerous by a referee.
So Fatai assessed the yellow card here in the first of 2 potential 10-minute overtimes. Just under 4 to go in this first one. If nothing's settled after 20 minutes of overtime, we will be going to penalty kicks to decide a championship on this Sunday from Northwestern University. This is Alashe. Over the top it goes. Arnone. It's quickly coming back. Numbers for Michigan State. Tyler Arnone. Challenged by Phelan on the side. And Cope smartly blasting it out of the back. Goal scorer for Michigan State, Adam Montague. Kreitz finding the ever-present Luke Norman to the feet of Montague. Keeping the drive alive, Kreitz and Montague. Norman, Fatai, Alashe, Connerty with the little room. Connerty, the cut to the middle, chip, Connerty! Tournament goal, Michigan State has just won it.
Michigan State with score number 9, Sean Connerty.
Dan, I gotta believe the big switch from one side of the field to the other and then the rip to the far post. No doubt wind aided, but still a clever shot by Sean Connerty is the difference maker in this match. Watch how the shift comes all the way over. Montague, Luke Norman, who's a converted midfielder, playing in the back, overlaps. Alashe finds Connerty. Connerty locks and loads as he cuts inside, and all he finds is the upper 90.
He's got the composure of a training session in August, but here it is in November, overtime of a championship game, and the poised freshman Connerty strikes the blow.
And he beats a freshman goalkeeper who had a stellar tournament. There's no doubt about that. A junior goalkeeper in Adam Grinwis, he had a terrific performance this week in Evanston. But it was the better of the performances this afternoon. That one moment that helps Connerty and the Michigan State Spartans leave with hardware and dreams of the NCAA tournament.
And without a shirt for the victorious hero, Michigan State, first Big Ten tournament since 2008. Dean Linke is with a very happy coach, Damon Rensing.
Indeed, Damon, first off, congratulations. What a go. You are the Big Ten champs.
Well, thank you so much. I'm just happy for our guys. It's kind of the story of the season. We've had ups and downs, and they've stayed with it. And, you know, we gave up a tough goal with 2.5 minutes left, but they stayed with it. They didn't panic, and just a fantastic finish by the freshman.
How about the effort of Montague? He's really hurt. You went to him. He said, I'm in.
He's a great kid. He's character. He's tough, and he epitomizes what our program's about.
And then Connerty, what a world-class finish.
He's really come on here at the end of the season, and you just can't say enough about him. He strikes a good ball, and he certainly caught one there, didn't he?
Congratulations, Coach.
Thanks, Dean. I appreciate it.
Damon Rensing. Coach of the Big Ten champs. Back to you, Dan.
Great stuff, Dean. Coach Rensing, big congratulations. Folks that traveled from East Lansing, Michigan, celebrating a championship now for these Spartans. It looked like they had things wrapped up late, Chris, and then Michigan changed things, but the Spartans prevail in the extra session.
It was hard to believe, or hard to understand, or even hard to guess how this whole thing was going to unfold. I mean, the teams were going to have to deal with the wind yet again for another 20-minute session. And Michigan State did what we had talked about. You know, instead of playing direct and looking for the quick combos inside the 18 where the defenders were collapsing when you're playing with the wind, why not let a shot out and let it go? And when Connerty aired that one out, boy, he got a lot of help, but there was a lot of skill behind that service. He did a great job with finishing the play.
Sean Connerty, he's been as cool as 007 this afternoon. Our Dean Linke is with the hero for Michigan State.
Indeed, and a big hug from Damon Rensing, a bomb. Talk about the goal.
You know, I've been waiting for it all game, and it finally fell to me, and I took advantage of it. You know, we had the wind in our back, and I just let it rip.
Early on, they left you for dead. You guys have really been on a tear. Now in the NCAA tournament, I wouldn't want to face the Spartans.
No, we're on a roll, and we're looking to go far in this tournament.
Congratulations, and good luck to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, back to you, Dan.
Nice to listen to the respectful Brian Connerty. It's just a simple game. He said he had the win with him. Just let it rip.
Yep, and Alashe does a great job of finding him way outside by himself. The big-time service and the trophy for the guys dressed in green this afternoon.
Fifth finals of the Big Ten tournament, winning for the first time since 2008. Time to celebrate for Michigan State. For Michigan, a valiant fight throughout the tournament. On the other side, it's got to hurt for the maize and blue watching this.
You know, you'd love to have the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament, and so Michigan doesn't have that, but they've got quite a resume that the tournament committee is going to have to look at as they consider whether Shaka and the Michigan Wolverines get that nod in his first year up in Ann Arbor. I think they deserve it. They've won some big games this year, but it'll be nice to see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully the Big Ten represented well in the tournament field.
Resume looking pretty good for state tournament champions, taking down Michigan